Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Hadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along all the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Adonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai Shir Hadam. Shalom, everyone. Glad you're joining us this evening. We're on 127. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We join together in the words of Hine Matov at the top of the following page. Hine Matov u'manai, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manai, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manai, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manai, shevet achim gam yachad. We're going to continue together with Yeti Nefesh, which is 2 down on the page. Yeti Nefesh Avarachaman. Yeti Nefesh Avarachaman. Mishach Abdecha. El Retzonecha. Mishach Abdecha. Yedai El Retzonecha. Yarutz Abdecha. Kemo Ayav. Yishtachave Yadai. Yadai. El Mohadaracha. We're going to turn together back to 120 to prepare to light the Shabbat candles. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our own lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Or we won't be. We join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. We continue together as we welcome the Sabbath bride with the Chado Viti 138 and 139, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Lechadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Lechadodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Shalom v'zachor v'diburecha Yishmi'anu v'cham yirchad Adonai echad l'shmor v'cham Shema tiferet v'litila Lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekavela Likrat Shabbat v'chuvanelcha Ki mekor havracha Merosh mihem nesucha Sof ma'aseh ma'shavat tehila Lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekavela Hitoveri, Kiva ore kumi uri, Shirda bebi, Kivod Adonai alay nigla, Lechadodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekavela. Rise in body or spirit as we face the entrance and welcome the Sabbath bride with verse 9. Bo'i v'shalom materet bala Ram besimcha u'zola Tochem unei amsegula Bo'i hala Lechadodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekavela. You may be seated. We continue together in welcoming Shabbat with Psalm 92, our psalm for Shabbat, page 140. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov leodot la'Adonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, lehagid babo derchastecha, ve'emunacha b'leilot. Ale yasur ale navel ale higayon bechinon mizmor shir leyom haShabbat tov lehodot la'Adonai ulezamer leshimcha elyon ulezamer leshimcha elyon Ki samatani Adonai b'cholecha v'ma'aseh yadecha araneh Magadi ma'asecha Adonai me'od Ha'amhu machshevotecha Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat tov leodot la'Adonai Ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. So we not only welcome the Sabbath bride, but we welcome the Sabbath angels of Shalom Aleichem on 142. Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem HaSharei, Aleichem Yahayom, Mi Melech, Aleichem HaMlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malechei HaShalom, Malechei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malechei HaMlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malechei HaShalom, Malechei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malechei HaMlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Seidchem l'shalom, Malechei HaShalom, Malechei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malechei HaMlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. We turn the page and join together in the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, B'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechonu v'yomechon, U'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, Hagalav, Ubizman Karim, V'meruam, Yeheshmei Rabban Mevorah, Le'olam Le'olayam, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, Yitbar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal, Shemei D'Kudusha B'rihu, Leila Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushvichata V'nechemata, Damiran Be'alma, V'meruam. Before we turn the page to the Barco, I just want to breathe for a minute with all of you. It's been a week. It's been a long week. Maybe it's been a good week. Maybe it's not been a good week. But Shabbat is an opportunity for rest. An opportunity to take a breath, take a moment, to not rush, to find joy. So big deep breath in and out to release some of the tension of the week. Baruch is on 146. We rise in body or spirit. We begin with the words, am I awake? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla la la la, 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 yalla la la la. Yala lai lai la. Barechu et Adonai Hamevorah. Baruch Adonai Hamevorah Leolam Vaed. Leolam Vaed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. We continue together on 148 as we pray. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night, and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzavot is your name. Ever living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue together in the middle of 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works in the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Oheh v'amo Yisrael. We turn the page as we join together in Shema, the watchword of our faith. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. You may be seated. Continue with Ve'ahavta in 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher Anochi metzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shirantam levanecha v'divarta b'ham v'shivtecha v'beitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'shoftecha u'kumecha u'kshatam leot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'isharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzetechem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'yod lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emo. Together on the top of 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together. We join together in Mi Chamocha on the top of 158. Yai lai lai ya lai la 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 lai 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 ya la 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 yai lai lai la 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 yai lai lai ya la 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 mi chamocha ba'elima donai mi chamocha nega bakuda nora tehilo oh, say that, Nora tehilo, no say that, Mahahutecha ra'uvanecha, Lokea yam mipnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze Eliyan yuve'amru, Ze Eliyan yuve'amru, Adonai yimbo, Leolam va'ed, Adonai yimbo, Leolam va'ed. We continue together on the top of 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukkot shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue together with the words of Vishamru on 162. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat Le'dorotam beridotam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat Le'dorotam beridotam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'otam Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat le'dorotam beridotam Beini uvein Asa Adonai and Hashemayim ve'et ha'aretz Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat le'dorotam beridotam Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat la'asot et Shabbat le'dorotam beridotam. We turn together to 164 as we rise and body your spirit for the Amidah. We chant 164 through 170. Adonai Sifatati Tahu Pia Yisraelata. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanova, El Elyon, Gomer Chosadim Tovim, Rekonei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasei Avot B'Imahot, U'Mevi Gula Livnei Bnei Ham, Le'man Shemo V'Yacham, Melech Ozer Mashiach U'Magid, Baruch atah Adonai, Magid Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav leHoshia, Morid atah. Mechalel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabbi. Tomer Noblim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umechaye Dato, Mishenei Afar, Michalo Tata Yevuro, Umidal Melo, Melech Meini Tumechaye, Umatniach Yeshua, V'ne'emana Talech Hayot Hafo, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye Ahor. Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Yalu Chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'elom HaKadosh. You may be seated. We continue together in the top of 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Middle of 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odecha levadcha, yir'ah na'avod. Middle of 177. We give thanks together. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hatov Shimcha Ucha Na'eh Turn to 178 and join together in Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Atom Melech Adon Levo HaShalom. Ki Atahu Melech Adon Levo HaShalom. Shalom Raham Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Raham Yisrael Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael v'chol eit v'chol sha'ah b'shlomecha. Shalom Raham Yisrael Tasim Leolam. Shalom Raham Yisrael Tasim Leolam. Blessed are you, Adonai, blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch et Amo Yisrael, Shalom. Take a moment for silent prayer. The words on 180 and 181, the words of your hearts. Ose shalom bimnam, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. We're going to turn together to page 371. 371. So our thoughts turn to those in our family, in our community, and in our world who are in need of healing. Body, of mind, or of spirit. If there's someone you're thinking of, please feel free to share their name aloud or in your heart or in the chat.
Bob Aronson, Vivian Kramer, and Michael Stone.
Dennis Linderman, Al Berman, Maurice Berman, Allison Solomon, Joan Iser, Cooper Saul Roberts, Hillary Selnick, Joe Sorensen. Steve Edwards, Linwood Jennings. Join together the words Mishabara in the middle of the page. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Imotenu Mekor habracha ve'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So I'm doing something a little different this evening. So my preface is that I welcome questions and thoughts as I'm talking this evening, both here in the sanctuary as well as online, though there is a delay on the stream of 10 to 20 seconds. So if I don't get right back to you, I'm not ignoring you on the stream. Last week, we read the Parsha, the section of Torah where Shema and V'ahavta originate. I always love reading the Parsha because I love speaking about the importance of Shema in our tradition. This week, the message continues that we must love God, that we must be careful not to be swayed by other gods, as well as being told the following. Therefore, impress these words upon your very heart, literally heart and self in the Hebrew. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead, and teach them to your children, reciting them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up, and inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, to the end that you and your children may endure in the land that Adonai swore to your fathers to assign to them, as long as there is a heaven over the earth. So what does it mean to place these words upon our heart? How does one go about doing that? Anyone got any ideas? I've got plenty of pages of material, so it's okay. You are welcome to chime in. So our ancestors came up with the idea of tefillin, or in English, phylacteries, which is a terrible word, honestly. Who knows what a phylactery is? Which comes actually from the Greek. When our ancestors came up with the idea of putting pieces of scripture into leather boxes, which then would get strapped to the non-dominant arm and head during prayer. Today, those who dislike wearing leather have come up with paper boxes with ribbon, though others argue that it's not kosher to do so. But I'd like us to ask, why not? Why does the known tradition have to be the only correct way of doing something? We have changed so much of our practice over the centuries, and the original choice of how to make tefillin was made up. Nowhere in the Torah does it say what it means by placing these words upon our heart. It also does not say what it means by inscribing them on the doorposts of our homes and on our gates. The mezuzah, a box with a scroll in it, was also made up. It's a powerful symbol, but it was not always the case. An argument could be made that painting the words or carving the words on our gates is what we are supposed to do. So let's be honest, the mezuzah is much more convenient. I think everyone would agree. All those words on a tiny piece of parchment. So back to my question about tefillin, to which we can add the question about tzitzit and how we place them on the corners of our garments. How else could we place these words on our hearts, our hands, and our foreheads? Teaching them to our children is understandable, though we teach in a variety of modalities. We learn to read, to chant, to sing the words. We take it to mean not just these exact words, but all the words of Torah, all the mitzvot and the values and the traditions. Judaism is a living and breathing tradition. So how do we place these words on our bodies? One way could be to tattoo our bodies, but then we run contrary to some other interpretations of Torah, which say we should not do that. What about just learning it by heart? If we can recite them off, why tie them to ourselves only during prayer? Should we not be thinking of them at all times? Rabbi David Wolpe, one of my personal rabbinic inspirations, writes in his book, Why Faith Matters, the following. How can I meet God if I venture out into the world weighed down by the purposelessness and emptiness of it all? To be open, to be humble, to seek. These are the preconditions to find something that simple reason alone will never yield. Deuteronomy 6:6 reads, and these words which I command you this day shall be on your heart. The rabbi of Kotz, a 19th century teacher, asked why the Bible states on your heart when it really wishes the words to be in your heart. His answer is that hearts are not always open. But if you place the words on your heart, when the heart is more receptive, they will sink in and there unfold their deeper meaning. This is true of all great messages in life, which take on their deeper shades only when we are ready. Cliches that mean nothing in youth suddenly become profundities as we age. Similarly, the idea of God can seem pale and distant when we are remote from sources of spirit. Later, a moment of faithful intimacy can change our lives forever. Perhaps, as we recite our prayers, as we study our texts, as we live our lives, we can remember in the back of our minds, if not at the forefront, that these words are our guide. While we may not always agree with them, while we may interpret them differently at various times in our lives, they are ultimately the words that guide us. They are ultimately how we make sense of our lives and of our world. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zichron Livracha, in his book To Heal a Fractured World, wrote regarding the Shema. It is usually translated as, you shall teach these things diligently to your children. The great 11th century commentator Rashi, however, translates the verb not as you shall teach diligently, but as you shall sharpen. Education in Judaism is active, not passive. It is about honing the mind, sharpening the intellect through question and answer, challenge and response. It is my hope each and every day, each and every week, to find some moment of goodness, to be grateful for the life I have been given, to do something to help another. Whether the action is big or small, it is an action towards a world that is more kind, more compassionate. As we approach the month of Elul, the month leading up to Rosh Hashanah, we are in a time of deep reflection and contemplation. The tradition holds that we recite Psalm 27 each day of Elul. The psalm begins with the words, the David, Adonai Uri, B'shir'i, Mimi Ira, Adonai Me'oz Haya, Mimi Echad. Of David, Adonai is my light and my help. Whom shall I fear? Adonai is the stronghold of my life. Whom should I dread? I invite you, as Elul begins on August 28th to consider participating in reciting the psalm or signing up for one of the many daily emails sent out during Elul. Always happy to share options. Or there's even the newly updated app available on both iOS and in the Google Play Store. Psalm 27, Opening Your Heart, written by one of my colleagues. This is the time in our calendar to reflect, to contemplate, to hear the small voice within our deepest selves speak. Place these words on your heart. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
We'll turn together to page 586. We rise in body or spirit for Aleinu, the bottom of 586, followed by the top of 588. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei gdula l'yotzer b'reshit. Shelo asanu avatzot velo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama. Shelo samchakenu kahem v'kol aleinu k'chol hamona. Ve'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Tashamayim Ve'Yosef Haaretz U'Moshe Mikol V'Shamayim Ima'o U'Shchina Tuzo Ve'Govei Meromim Who Eloheinu Eloheinu and Malkeinu Epezulato to the Torah Yadam Be'asherota Elevaveha Ki Adonai Hey no, the top of 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the Son of God over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. V'namar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. You may be seated. It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream to be and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. We especially remember the yard sites of Eva M. Dursky, Barbara Artson, Michael K. Bach, Ruth Berman, Rosalie Berman, Lillian Bernard, Rose Helen Blank, H. Gordon Pfeffer, Dr. Michael M. Frank, Ruth Sybil Frank, Jean Gall, Rachel Galperin, Ruth Galperin, Jean Hannah Glasser, Sadie Golden, Linda Paul Haft, William C. Heller Jr., Ethel Heller Hyman, Nathan Kaplan, Evelyn Lawrence, Tilly Madison, Lucille McDonald, Pauline Orwin, Raymond Peters, Louis Pollins, Rita Reinheimer, Anna Rittman, Julius Schwan, Bessie Schwitke, Herb Schwitke, Alan Serlin, Max Shapiro, Louis Volnick, Lois Shamofsky, Morris Weintraub. We are in Shloshim for Vicky Weaponer. Additions? We turn to page 598 to rise and body your spirit for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'kadash shemei rabah v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yamechon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'agalah u'zman kari v'imur amen. Yehi shmei rabah nevarach le'olam u'omei omaya. Yiparach v'yishavach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaheh v'yitalah shmei kudashah v'yitchulu v'ela minkol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata dami ran v'yalma v'yimur amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'murma huyaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. You may be seated. Oh, it's back. Announcements. We do have Oneg with thanks to Myron and Jerry after services. So we'll do blessings and such outside at the front. I hope you'll join us. Tomorrow morning services are at 10 a.m. in person and on Zoom. We will be reading Torah tomorrow morning. And at 11:30 is our Rosh Chodesh discussion led by Tara. All are always invited. That will be in person and on Zoom as well. Tomorrow night at 7 is Havdalah. Israeli dancing has been moved to the following week with Havdalah. So just Havdalah tomorrow night at 7. Yes. But coming up, we're about 6 weeks from the high holidays. So everyone, pay attention to the September newsletter. There will be a mailing going out to members. There's a lot of information coming up about times of services and the when and the how and all of that coming up as well. Next week, services at 7 p.m. Will be outside as long as the weather's nice. So it will not be strange. But other than that, I think it covers everything.
Like we did last month and in June. Outside there.
Yes, we're gonna be outside as long as the weather's nice. We just need this week, weather next week, it's fine. We're going to, right? We can pretend that that's gonna work, me saying that. We're gonna conclude together with Adon Olam on 6:25. Together. Adon Olam asher mala b'terem kol yitzir nivra Lieg nasa v'hetzokol, azai melech shemoni bra v'yacharei kidlot hafol, levado yimloch nora, v'hu hayom v'hu hoveh, v'hu yeh b'tifara, v'hu echad being sheni, laham shilo lechachbira, veli reshit veli tachli, velo haoz v'hamisra, vehu eli v'chai goali, v'tzur chabli b'yitzara, vehu nisi umanosli, Menat kosi b'yom ekra b'yado akid ruchi b'yetishan b'yahira b'im ruchi gaviyati Adonai li velo ira. Shabbat shalom, everyone.